Alright, guys. After some technical issues, we're finally starting Group B here of PIGFest. Clem in the bottom right side of the map. We finally got his camera up and running. And you know what? I was expecting him to look much more asleep this early in the morning. We had a 10 a.m. start time. It's now getting closer to 10:30. It's 10:24. But he's up against Percival. Percival playing Terran, of course, as always. Clem playing Protoss. And Clem does have a good head-to-head record in PvT with Percival. There have been moments where Percival really stresses him out with these beautiful timing attacks, good SCV pulls. The one problem he runs into, I do believe, is that he's shown a bit of a limited range where he feels like, cause Clem's kind of greedy, it plays that Max Pack style European PvT, where I really feel like Clem and Max Packs are the best at that. Percival likes to SCV pull and do very fast tank pushes into them. Problem is, I think he's maybe a little bit too heavily reliant on that section of the game. And as a result, Clem can do things like 4-gate blink to play extra safe. He can play safer openings, and we can see how we go. This is going to be great, guys. Second match. What did I miss? No, this is the very first match of Group B. Group A was yesterday. We've got, of course, 3 best-of-3s, 2 best-of-5s today. Same as yesterday, guys. That's the format. It's going to be, of course, winners matches and deciders matches are best-of-5. The ones that actually qualify for you to the playoffs. Remember, if you drop it even one series, it does hurt you because you will basically start the playoffs in the lower bracket, whereas you get a chance to speed run your way to the semifinals. If you come first, to get that kind of leapfrog, you do need to beat another player that was a first seed from the group stage. But it's a format very few people are familiar with. It's from the AFL finals, the Australian Football League here. Aussie rules football in Australia. And I think it's a really good one because we end up with a chance for the better players to kind of get rewarded by going further in the bracket. But then also they play against each other potentially a second time in the playoffs, which is why you do sometimes get these big best-of-7 rematches. And we try to get as many big series as possible in the tournament. Now, Clem only checked for proxies this game. Remember the last time he played this map, he got one base all in by Maru and got wrecked. But that was a very close series, and I think that really bodes well for Clem's performance in this matchup. I think a lot of people thought when he finally ran into a guy who's both top-tier mechanics and clever like Maru, he would get mauled in this matchup. The fact that it was a nail-bitingly close 3-2, and that's including Maru taking the first game with a cheesy all-in, was, I think, quite confidence-boosting for Clem. It was also really good to see the way him and Maru danced in late game, where I felt like Clem with his multitasking, with the mobile kind of Colossus stalkers and then disruptors running around, showed a good knowledge, at least on the maps like Old Republic and Tourmaline, of how to pick apart a Terran player before they get to Libs, right? Before they get... And even once Libs are out, it's really hard to defend him in the late game. Now, this is going to be an early hallucination coming in. Sees the 3 racks opening. You don't see a 3 racks much these days. And 3 racks is a really interesting build. I think one of the best things you can do with it is get your first, say, 8 to 10 Marines, sneak them out and hide them on the side of the map. And then when Protoss runs over with his Blink Stalkers to pin you in your side of the base, that's when the Marines either stim into the natural or the third. And of course, Stalkers could pick those Marines off across the map very easily, but not when they appear in a mineral line and start murdering probes. And that is, of course, the entire goal of that style. Early Marauders are coming in as well, which does give him the ability to catch Stalkers on the map potentially. Clem is still just going to go for a very quick third in the face of this 3-gate blink, into third base. And he's going to go nothing but Stalkers, and he's going to look to engage the Marine Marauder on the Terran side of the map. Problem with this new modern early Concussive Shell opening is, oh, he's not even watching. Concussive wasn't even done. Clem already loses a Stalker. Remember, this is very early in the morning for Clem, 10 a.m. start time, which for him is the equivalent of 3 a.m. for a normal human because he is an ultimate gamer. I'm not even exaggerating there. He does regularly stay up till 6 or 7 a.m. to play tournaments on the American time zone. But I think Percival's just a beast, man, and you got to respect the Percy. One of the hardest working tank engines in Thomas the Tank Engine. The Fat Controller was always pleased with his work. And I do like to think the Fat Controller is indeed a Terran player, so I think he's pretty happy what he's seeing here. Nice pressure on the third. Concussive Shell's coming in before Blink is ready, but now Blink is about to kick in, and that's going to change things. The Sentry goes down as well. Has he pushed too deep? I think Percival's gone a bit too deep, man. Those Marauders are going to be isolated now that all the Marines have picked off. I like that Clem's not blinking forwards. This is the sort of situation where sometimes Clem gets overeager and blinks on top of the Marauders, and Stim Marauders, of course, are a menace. I think maybe it's worth it now. You don't really want to let Percival just get home for free here. Percival loses one Marauder. I think Clem can't resist. You know he's going to blink on that. You know he can't resist it. He's going to go for it. Oh my gosh, rare restraint for Clem, guys. Very rare. Clem's, I mean, he also massive trouble against, oh no, Percival on move command and splitting his army up. I don't know what was going on there, but Percival got confused there, threw away a few units, and now he's in massive, massive trouble. There was a game between Clem and Maru on Celestial Enclave where Clem was really picking Maru apart, and then he blinked on top of Marauder's SCV and threw all of his Stalkers away. So I think maybe learning that lesson. Bit of panic there, Percival. You can tell he's feeling the pressure. 433 average APM. Attacked one of his own units for a second there. Didn't quite kill it, though. Stalker's coming forward. The SCV's going to go down. That third base is fully mining. Percival's only on 47 workers, and he's nowhere near medevacs. Wow, this is a mauling in game one, I think. Because right now, you're pinned as Percival. You're down 15 workers, and you don't have medevacs. You're just building tanks barely trying to survive. Clem's going to 10 gateways behind this. Well, 9 to be exact. But he's not even probing. I think he just feels like he can just make Zealots, Immortals, 1 or 2 sentries and just go, go, go. I mean, he's building a shield battery, but I don't think he even needs it. I feel like he's both got the economy and the army tempo advantage with all that production. But, oh, he doesn't notice the stim, and he's going to pay a hefty price. Nice flank. Percival loops around with some Marine Marauder, gets himself about 5 Stalkers there. Excellent play for Percival. Unfortunately, he does have a crippling drug addiction. These units do not have any sort of healthcare for addicts. Why don't you just get a job and stop injecting those stims? The military gave them to us, man. Nexus will go down in the 4th soon. He's already got the Robo Bay coming. Does Clem. Got a whole lot of gateways built in the natural. Few in the main. Pylons coming in at very nice timings. Percival's going to go 5 barracks after the 3rd CC. I think the win condition for Percival is probably going to just revolve around maybe one more catch on the Stalkers, like he did just before. And then really careful positioning against these Zealots. Phoenix going to go into the main base. You know what's really funny? There's this weird thing in StarCraft where the first time you click on something in the unit tab to find where it is, sometimes it like just has a little slight lag spike. But then when you click on those units later, it'll just jump to them without actually any delay. So odd. Stalker Zealot moving around Colossus. About 3/4 of the way out here. 4th base coming in as well. Well, actually, a few little lag spikes here on the Central US server for me. Hopefully the connection from Australia is not too bad. Oh, that's an early armory, guys. So he's going to try and go to 2-2. With the 3rd base just now landing. Percival's going to try and turtle this one out to the late game. I imagine it's just going to be all about the Bio Viking Ghost. I think Clem will probably opt to try and kill that with Colossus timing. I don't think he'll want to be letting Percival go to late game for free. Oh, I love the depot wall. But is there enough Marine Marauder to defend? 1 tank does go down. Stalker and a few Zealots. Probably not a bad trade for Clem. I think these tanks are so valuable. Zealot, Stalker, Colossus on the right side. Gonna push the Bio back up the ramp. The Zealots are expendable, but the Colossus Sentry Stalker is not. Clem, he's forcing stims, but I think there's plenty of medevac healing, and this is actually really gifting a good fight to Percy. Percy gets the Colossus kill. Excellent trades. 1,500 resources down, and Clem a little bit half-cocked there. No forward Warp Prism. All of his upgrades aren't ready. He's losing a lot of his powerful units. I mean, Yassi was ahead in this game, but very sloppy on the trades. Remember, he already lost those Stalkers on the left side, so a lot of his lead had already kind of been whittled down a little bit. But then to lose 2 Immortals of Colossus, 2 Sentries, that's very expensive. And suddenly Percival finds himself right back in this game. Clem, of course, still has the economic edge with the 5th base coming up. Double Forge pumping, 2nd Robo. He's got the +1 armor coming in. I really hate when players let this +1 armor get delayed to after 10 minutes. The fact that he's going to finish that around 10 minutes means his +2 is not going to be poorly timed at all. Stalker's coming in from behind, but I don't think Clem has the numbers to just jump on this, does he? Or maybe. Colossus Micro is really good now. He's got +2 and extended thermal lance. The Stalkers stumble into a mine. One of them does go down, and I think this is a really good fadeaway for Percy. He's very damaged. Stalkers could blink after that. Clem almost being too calm, waiting a few extra seconds to blink. Does get 2 more Marauders, though, as the price. 4th Command and a 2nd Starport's coming in. I don't think there's more than 5 barracks. So Percival's like, you know, he's okay on production, but remember, he can't reproduce very quickly. And as Clem builds more gateways, he's on 10 right now. And he's got prisms and, of course, Warp Prism speed going to be coming in. What is Clem doing? Owning. I see you guys in chat making fun of each other. That's so funny. They're like, did you look at that last fight? You call that owning? It's hero tactics, guys. He wanted to build the hype. That's a hype building fight that Clem took over here before, where his immortals died. It's a hype builder. Dark and Hero, some of the biggest fan favorite players in the world, and Clem's learning from them. Sometimes you got to take a silly fight, so it's more exciting when you win later. Now, honestly, Percival's got 3 ghosts. That first EMP wasn't great. He's just got to be really careful with his positioning. The Colossus beams on the clumped up bio could be great. Pretty good hold here for Percival. Units lost time, still 2,000 in his favor, but that Prism. This is where the multitasking is going to get stretched real thin. When that Prism goes in, and there's now Disruptor, double Robo Disruptor, 6 base on the way. Clem on 86 workers. He wants to keep baiting stims here, but actually his army's too small. No Zealots on the front. There we go. A few Zealots do come in. He's got Zealots on the left. They'll get cleaned up by the bunker tank. Marauders are already on top of this. Percival may have chased a bit too far in the middle, though. He may have chased a bit too far in the middle. Massive Zealot warp in on the natural is going to overwhelm those Marauders. And that is where the damage may happen. Not to mention, Planetary is up on the front, but the bio needs to fade away. You need to fight with the Planetary. So he's got to just support it from the high ground for now. The SCV's never evacuated this natural. It's a big Zealot warp in, and you might think, well, it's a lot of Zealots to throw away, isn't it? But then you've got to realize he's got 86 workers. Clem has minerals for days. He doesn't care about throwing Zealots away. As long as they kill some Marines and SCVs, it's an excellent trade. 5th Command Center does start for Percival. He realizes he needs to be able to absorb these punches and just walk through them. He needs to walk through all of it. The problem is Clem has added layers to his play. This is the point in the game where we saw so many Protoss players just keep a moving Zealot, Stalker, Colossus repeatedly. If Clem keeps looking for Prisms in the back and mixing Disruptors and then eventually going Blink Dark Templar, it's so hard for Percival to keep on top of. Because now you're going to dodge those Disruptor shots, but the Viking Micro is pretty good, man. 2 Colossus going down. Yeah, the Stalkers focus a few units down, but I think Clem's got to stay dynamic to keep the pressure up. He's got a good momentum, good supply advantage. But if Percival maxes out and just locks down 4 bases, then he's in a good spot. So you've got to kind of keep getting Zealots in the 3rd, try to get them on the tank, get them around the bunker, get another Prism into the main. He's building 2 Prisms right now. Disruptors waddle into the front line. There's just not that much bio for Percival, though. I feel like that was, you know, one of those moments of inattention where Clem could have thrown his whole army away, but Percival just didn't have the numbers. If there's like another 6 Marauders or something flanking from the right side, he can engage straight up, focus the Disruptors down before the shots get off. Which gas is coming up on the front for Clem. I think one of the best things about Clem is how good he is at transferring workers as well. You're going to notice he's constantly transferring workers from these bases. Like I'm looking for a red number above a Nexus. It doesn't exist. So he's got, you know, what the hell? 4,300 minerals a minute. He can make 43 Zealots a minute, guys. 43. That is just insanity. And he's got the production for it as well. It's 20 seconds per Zealot warp, and he's got enough production to make 42 Zealots a minute, and the income to support it as well. Prism does sneak by the back door. 1 turret, never enough to stop a speed Prism. Look at this army split. He's trying to find openings here. He's trying to use the Disruptors to get him while he's distracted. He's looking for the ball shots. Zealot Stalker coming in from the left. Nice defensive position for Percival. Good EMPs there, but he's got to fall back. Disruptors come out. You know what they say, guys? Cry havoc and let loose the balls of war. And that is exactly what Clem's doing, and yet he doesn't find big hits. It's the Zealots in the natural yet again. It's I'm creating chaos, I'm distracting you, I'm getting little trade-offs, and whilst I'm losing a fair few Zealots, I'm 4k resources behind the units lost, I can trade even worse than that and still be drowning you in numbers. Vikings landed, ghosts are exposed! Decent hit, damages a bunch of those units. So many Disruptors bullying him off this 3rd, and that's something he can't afford right now. Prism's in the back door again. Vikings are going to have to go over. Disruptor shots just keeping Percival's attention on the front. It's so hard to deal with this, man. Look at that. You got to be constantly stimming. Ghosts are getting picked off. Disruptor lands on the SCVs. Zealot warpins in the main as well. And it was a bad start for Percival. He had a moment or two after Clem threw that army away on the front where it felt like he might get back in it. But Clem was just a bit too... He had too much freedom. There was no real pressure of an attack on his side of the map. And you can see the results of that now, right? He's able to attack, swarm, split up units, and run Disruptors around at the same time. Once Clem has an edge on you, he's very good at leveraging it. He really understands. And, you know, we've heard a few players recently say Disruptor's the most underrated unit because if you go back 3 months, Clem was saying the Disruptor's garbage. It's completely worthless in PvT. It's actually not even worth building a single one ever. And it's just a reminder, guys, because there are people, sometimes I'll talk about this unit's good in this situation, this unit's bad in this situation. Very rarely do I speak in absolutes. Usually I try to explain things in games and analyze it in a very, you know, let's talk about where it's good, where it's bad. But people will always argue with me and they'll say, no, Clem said it's garbage or something. And I'll be like, yeah, and next month he'll say it's the best unit ever and you'll see him building 14 of them. Pros have a very important characteristic, and they've actually found this in brain scan studies of StarCraft 1 pro gamers as well. It's called mental flexibility. It's the ability to really commit to a mental model, come up with a whole rule set, and then when the situation changes, abandon it and go, nah, that rule doesn't apply ever anymore. Nice disruptor shots, good engages on the libs, and Clem there does take down Percival. You can see, he says, look, I've talked to him about it. He says disruptors aren't the most efficient unit. No, they're definitely not. But he said you just need anything when you're far enough ahead that can kind of force trades on the Terran and force them to engage you rather than having them hide, and Disruptor's really good for that. And he does get a very nice game one. All right, guys, we've got Percival on the bottom left side of the map. Top right, Clem. My man. This is going to be definitely the wrong scoreboard. Let me fix that. Make sure you guys get your predictions in if you are watching live. This is a big map. It's a tough one for Percival. But I have seen quite a few Protoss players get caught off guard. So one thing I always wonder is 4-gate Blink good on this map? Because it feels like it would be the perfect map to play 4-gate Blink, because you've got so much room to be greedy behind aggression on this map. It's just there's, I guess, not that many spaces to blink in. It's not terrible for blinking in the main, but it's also not amazing. I think it's good enough. I think it's a good 4-gate Blink map. I think that's a good build choice. Now, I am a big fan of just building the command center here if they're really obsessed with blocking like this, guys. But he builds it one space off. I like Percival's choice there. I think that's the optimal way to play this. Dude, did he just attack his own command center once with that SCV? Just gave it a bit of the taste of the drill there. Second gas coming up as well. I've started a debate in the Twitch chat about, I said football's quite exciting to watch, but it can be boring if the teams don't play an interesting style, and it's the same with StarCraft. Now everyone's talking about how much they hate football. I'm not surprised that people who exclusively watch or mostly watch esports find most other sports boring. I think it all depends on your taste, of course. I think there's a lot of good sports, but I think, you know, depending on the matchups, it's my favorite in any sport is a close, scrappy, unpredictable match where both sides are taking risks and being aggressive. I don't mind watching play that's a little bit more defensive when it's really nicely executed. I can appreciate it, but I think in general, you give me the Rainer versus Hero of any sport, and I'm gonna have a good time. Beautiful micro with the SCVs there. Does need to start that orbital. 150 minerals have kicked in, so there we go. Starts it up, and 2 Marines on the high ground. Nice opening for Percival. He limits any damage. I wouldn't mind him popping the SCVs out and just repairing each other there. Yeah, you know, come on. Oh no, he doesn't want to waste the minerals. He's like, nah, you guys can just be. Problem is the Adept might shade in later, and yeah, that's the, oh, you know, no, juicies, big juicies. Well, the Adept actually doesn't commit to the shade. Clem wasn't watching. A rare moment of inattention for Clement. The Marines try to unload to bully the Adepts, but that's dangerous. These Adepts are Clem Adepts, and he's always looking for an opening. Ooh, oh, watch out, Clem. Good reaction speed. Gets a few more hits off. Dude, his Adepts are so annoying. His Adepts are so annoying. I'm telling you, man. There's any Grandmaster Terran player out there will tell you it's really funny because there's a moment where you think you're quite good in TVP and then you play a pro Protoss player in a tournament and their Adepts see everything you do and they're always in your base and you just feel like you're just trying to it's like you're trying to set up a tent at a campsite, but you have there's 6 children running around just constantly stealing the tent pegs and just messing things up and trying to drag the canvas away. And so it's just, you're just can you just leave me alone? And Clem is one of the best at that. He's up there with Hero when it comes to just being a nuisance in that early game. Finally, some revenge. The Marines do get 1 Adept. Looks like the second one will barely get out of there. Percival hasn't lost any units, though, and that in of itself is really impressive, even though his Widow Mine drop did get delayed. But I honestly don't think he needs to do too much here. Then again, 3rd Nexus is so early. How does Clem get so far forward on the map, so much control, The blink was used to dodge that Widow Mine, by the way. You can see he didn't lose any Stalkers. Nice Burrow on Burrow Micro, though. He does get in here. Clem was a bit too overeager to get across the map. Widow Mine only gets 1 probes. And good cleanup. And 2 probe kills for that one. I think this was good handling for PERCIVAL. PERCIVAL's very good in this matchup. It's just such a big map. But I think it's going to be hard to surprise his opponent. Ooh, he gets the Observer. Always worth an auto turret for an Observer. Because it's robo build time, and even though it's only 100 resources, 75 of it is gas. And gas is so important for Protoss. A lot of the Protoss players like to play a 3-gas style, where they're going Colossus off of without the 4th. And if you don't have a 4th gas, it's really, really nail-biting. Like, if you lose a couple Observers, maybe even 3 Stalkers to a few Marauders stimming on them, suddenly you just can't afford your Colossus range, and it really ruins your build. If you can get away with like a greedy start and really be perfect on all of your gas spending as Protoss, it's very nice. I like this. He's sneaking out, man. Dude, because he already killed the other Observer. This Observer doesn't see. Oh, he's going to get across the map. But actually, wait, it's not even a good idea to push. Because I don't think he's going to have enough Marines to defend, because they're quite damaged. It's 15 Marines, 2 tanks, 1 Marauder. And there's going to be charge ready about the time he hits the other side in a minute. I don't know if PERCIVAL can get anything done. He gets spotted. And it's turnaround time. He's forced 3 Observers out of his opponent. 5 probes go down to the auto turret. Sorry, guys, didn't catch that. I don't know if he did... Or 2 probes, sorry. I can read numbers. 2 is basically a 5, guys. Am I dyslexic? Just found out I'm dyslexic, apparently. Widow Mine's going to get picked up. Dude, he saves the mine for another day. So he's still got 2-pronged harassment pressure on the other side. PERCIVAL does not have a 3rd command center just yet. There we go. It's going to start. He's got stim shields +1, all kicking in at the same time. And it's a moment where we're going to see kind of the sentry, single sentry, charge zealot starting to get out in, but it's mostly Stalker Sentry Immortal here, hanging out. And we can see how we go. Now, for those who don't know, guys, it is day 2 where we managed to get a new Windows install. We've been setting up production back on the Alpha computer, which is why the quality's back in nicer quality today. And I thought I got everything sorted, but you guys know when you do a fresh Windows install, there's like 1,000 little things. You guys can't see it, thankfully. I just had... I thought I turned off all the Discord notifications. Something just popped up and it's like, hey, random person from your friends list from 4 years ago is playing animal farming game. And I'm like, oh God, like who wants this on by default? The biotank's gonna shove forwards. The Stalkers are blinking away. The sentries and the zealots are trying to get back. Got to be careful pushing so hard, PERCIVAL. There's going to be a big zealot reinforced, but no Guardian Shield. The tanks go very deep, and the Stalkers and the Immortals get on top. The zealots do go forward. The Widow Mines clear them. I think the tanks might have gone down a bit too early, though. That is problematic for PERCIVAL. Units lost tab, I think, is perfectly fine for Clem there. Yeah, he's behind on it, but not that badly. Now the Widow Mine goes in. Does only get a single probe. He saves it, though. PERCIVAL, oh, he does save it. Where's the Raven gone? Raven's out over here. And he's killed 3 Observers. I'd love to see that Raven go back and just keep harassing workers. Now he's going to do it, PERCIVAL. He's playing a clean game. His 3rd's floating out. The only issue is that Clem is such a greedy bastard. He's got Colossus on the way, a 4th base and 70 probes, 2nd Forge in the midst of this. Like, there is such pressure on you to overcommit against a guy like Clem because he's so good at just really doing the tightrope walk of getting ahead if you don't force a fight, if you don't punish him. But he tries to bait you in, tries to bait the double stims, the triple stims, tries to wear you down and get you to overcommit. Oh, look at that. The auto turret was about to go in, but there's actually a shield battery, so he didn't need to pull his probes there. That's kind of hilarious. And PERCIVAL starting to disrupt Clem quite a bit. Auto turret only focuses 2 probes there. Widow Mine gets another one, but it's still damage, it's still distraction, and Clem, he's actually probing very hard. He's got now a 1st Colossus on the field. The bio army is massive. I wonder if PERCIVAL could just fight. I do think there was a window to SCV pull here. I think he could have made it look like a totally normal game and done like a 2.5 base SCV pull. But now that the Colossus is out, that timing's gone. He's just looking for positive trades. The Widow Mine retargeting! He retargeted that Widow Mine into the Sentry Stalker in the middle of the pack. That was actually crazy. That was so nicely done. Very, very cool play. The bio, though, it's very wounded. He needs to go heal, and Clem knows that. Clem does not want to let these units escape. Widow Mine drop and Raven are going to think about going back in, but the Widow Mine drop's finally fallen. Do you want to chase PERCIVAL any further? If you chase him any further, dude, his reinforce is here. PERCIVAL goes for it. He's going to get the Colossus. I think it's a good fight for PERCIVAL. Clem tries to stand and fight, realizing that that bio is so wounded and that his Stalkers can always fade away. Gets himself a Widow Mine. This is Clem. Any other Protoss player has to go lick their wounds and macro. Clem can micro and macro at the same time. If you guys haven't seen it, we did a point of view cast from Clem's point of view maybe about 6 months ago, and I keep referencing it for good reason. There was a moment where he was in a very, very scrappy PvT, and he was actively dodging Marauder shots with a Warp Prism, picking up his Stalkers because their blink was off cooldown. And at the same time, he went home, put workers on gas, went back, dodged another Marauder shot, went home, put workers on the other gas. And it didn't look like he was even slightly stressed. And that was the moment when I realized he has an unfair advantage. And like, he actually needs a league of his own. His speed is ridiculous. When he's playing Protoss and Terran, it translates really well. Look at that beautiful spready. He just disengages on the front. His Stalkers are still kiting back this army. Clem is on 77 workers. Oh, another Widowmine. I love that he's being active with this, man. He does lose that Widowmine. Clem's getting potentially cornered. But Percival might actually be the one who's overcommitting here. Oh, beautiful blink to the left. Percival overcommits. This got a bit too scrappy, and I think Clem's going to be able to beat him here with the Colossus and the Zealots coming in. Those Marauders too deep in the corner of the map. The Reinforced too far away. Oh, what an excellent engagement for Clem. This is what he does. He just stretches out your multitasking, and he baits these massive mistakes from his opponents. He's going to lose the Vikings now, is Percival. Percival's Widowmine drops have gone down. He killed 5 probes, but in the midst of it, Clem has 81 workers, and this is the danger of trying to play a multitasking match on an Old Republic-style map with Clem, because this is the map where spread out base is hard to defend. You think Bio gets map control? Not against Clem. Clem's so good with his Zealot Stalker mobility and roaming the map. It's so hard to bully him off this map. And once he's got momentum, he's going to out-probe you and attack you at the same time. And you can see how Percival's constantly stimming, which means he needs more medevacs. But he desperately needs more Vikings to deal with the Colossus. So he's stuck in a bad spot here with the medevacs are always out of healing juice, but he doesn't have enough Vikings to deal with the Colossus. And this is once again Clem just doing such a crisp display of PvT. And you know what? I actually really think Percival played well. I thought Clem was going to play a bit safer than normal, expecting Percival to do those SCV pulls I was talking about. I feel like Clem played this series very generically, which isn't in of itself a mistake, but maybe I thought he was going to come out with a bit more of an anti-Percival strategy. And he goes super vanilla, and he's just playing it perfectly though, right? It's vanilla done just right. There is nothing wrong with vanilla, guys. Chocolate's good. We all love chocolate. Once in a while, man. Really well done. Beautiful vanilla ice cream is all you need. 13 SCVs going down. Percival's on 59 workers. He's trying to get this 4th up, and it is a planetary now, but one has to realize just how hard this position is now. 88 probes, and of course the second robo. Disruptor transition. That's a 3rd robo, sorry. Triple robo disruptor transitions on the way. I've always loved disruptors for their extreme range at picking at a very turtley Terran. I remember a few years ago, there was a game Hero played against, I can't remember who it was. It might have been on Ultra Love, and I remember there was a Terran who just turtled up really hard, and this was at a time when Terrans weren't really turtling much, and he didn't build a single disruptor, and he just kept throwing armies into the meat grinder. And the moment he swapped to disruptors, he just absolutely wrecked. And that's why disruptors are so good once the Terran gets to the late game. But Clem does not let you get to the late game without getting bruised, bloodied, and torn to shreds. 1,000 resources lost difference. 1,700 is nothing. I mean, that's like 88 workers. Clem's like, dude, if I'm down 5,000, maybe I'm tiny bit worried, but he's trading close to even. Percival has less Marines and Marauders than there are Protoss units, and that is not a good sign. Viking count solid. These Colossus are not going to last much longer. Stalker's trying to focus down the medevacs. He's not even targeting the Vikings, I don't think. Ooh, he's actually actively targeting the medevacs with the Stalkers. The Zealots are chasing. Disruptor's coming in. Warping in the main. He's going to go for +3 armor. That's a big snipe. Obviously, he was hoping it was attack, but still, getting rid of the armor upgrade in of itself is really nice. Ship weapons +2 is going to go down as well. Not to mention the SCV. Zealots running in the natural. The Max Pax pair of Zealots just clicking into a base where you don't actively have army, forcing you to multitask for a 13-gate Protoss on 6 bases. That is really well done. He's still distracting at the front. Finally, Percival shuts down the Disruptor, but you can't do that and micro perfectly in the main at the same time. Which is why he's even losing ghosts to the Zealots. 2 more Zealots running the left, the classic Max Pax maneuver. 3 balls on the front. They've only got a pack of Stalkers with him, so he's got to chill for a moment. I do think one thing I'd love to see for Clem is forward gateways. One there, one there. Because I think he could be warping in closer to the front and using those to do run-bys as well. You don't always have to use Warp Prisms. It's been something I've had a pet peeve with Protoss players when they've got a lot of map control, not building those forward gateways. Oh, Disruptors go too far forward. Percival with a swift kick to the nuts. And Clem forgot to wear his box to fight day. Does get punished. Just like the UFC, guys, we do allow eye gouging and crotch kicks here. We believe fair competition is about blinding your opponent or kicking them in the gonads in order to get an unfair advantage. And that is exactly what Percival did. And honestly, he was far enough behind. I don't know if it's going to really matter because there's so many disruptors behind it off the triple robo disruptors. Oh, another shot does go out. Zealots are just too many, man. He's outnumbered. And Clem is going to take a 2-0. Clem's PVT remains one of the absolute best in the world. All right, guys. Solar in the bottom left side of the map. ZOUN in the top right. ZOUN is going to block his expansion early, and Solar did not opt for a hatchery before Overlord, so he does get blocked, and he's going to go to the third. Now, ZOUN, interestingly, as the lowest seed, we actually give him veto priority. He picks who vetoes first. Normally, players veto first, because then they get to pick the first map. But he lets Solar veto first and pick the first map. So Solar picked Tourmaline. Maps 2 and 3 will be in order: Celestial Enclave and Old Republic. So bigger, turtlier maps. The first game, a bit more vicious for a good old Queen drop Roach Ravager push. That's usually the build I would think of on a Tourmaline. But right now, it feels like Zerg players have no faith in Roach attacks against Protoss. And I kind of wonder why, because I'm like, I get maybe it's a bit lower percent if they hit the later ones, where once Storm's done. Before Storm's finishing, they still should have a decent chance of winning. But it's very rare for players to do that. Guys, Solar forgot his spawning pool. Solar forgot his spawning pool. What the hell? Solar thought he placed the spawning pool. It didn't go down. Look at his face. Oh, no. I almost want to pause and restart, but I can't. That's an unforced error. Oh, Solar on his map pick with a massive blunder. That's 15 seconds. He has to go third hatchery now. Good call. Okay, this is a good call. This minimizes the damage. This does minimize the damage. If you don't take the fast third, you're kind of screwed. But if you take the fast third, at least you can put your money somewhere, because your queen's being delayed is a big bummer. But at least the hatchery being about a minute early will speed up your lava production there. It's not an optimal build order, but I don't think it's the end of the world. I think he's going to be okay. Oh, man. I mean, ZOUN saw it as well, so yeah. I do like that Solar responded with a smile, guys. I think that shows he's relaxed. You know, I mean, we do talk about, guys, what's Solar's nickname? The unluckiest player in the world. This man has eaten more game-ending nukes, single pylon ramp wall-off map abuses due to bad quality assurance on a GSL map. Beating Hero into Hero killing him with like one Archon and a Warp Prism despite being down 80 supply multiple times. Like, there have been way too many games where you think Solar's got a big victory against a Maru or a Hero, and then they just pull a rabbit out of a hat, and that's why we've given him that nickname. Oh, good Spore Tricks though. He's such a good player. That's the crazy thing. You'd think they're like a pretty bad player, but we'll see how he goes. His smile was a WTF am I doing smile. I mean, it's still a smile. There's a little bit of pain there, but at least it was a smile. I mean, come on, man. There's levels to this, right? He's not pulling his hair out yet. And like I said, it's a playable opening. As long as you go for the quick third, this is not too bad. If he didn't build the quick third, I think he's in a terrible spot. But as it is, I think he's fine. As long as he evens up on the drones at about 40 and then overtakes, he could be good. Oh, I don't think he can kill the Stalker. Okay, guys, one sec. I apologize. All right. No. Sorry. My StarCraft playlist ended, and it started going to, like, I don't know what the hell that music was, but I was like, better turn that off quickly before we get some copyright music. Go back to the StarCraft soundtrack. Overlord will go down. Zerglings aren't able to kill it, but at least this keeps the Oracle at home. And that's allowed Solar to delay his spores. You can see they're coming up a little bit later. And there's no quick third here for ZOUN either, guys, which is quite interesting. So he's gone 4 Gas Forged Twilight. And I would describe this build as bad. That's it. That's the end of my analysis. I don't like this delayed third. There's an argument that it allows you to get Storm even earlier. And Blink even earlier. I mean, you do get a crazy fast Blink +1. You know, you could do this as like a 50 probe timing where you only get like 8 probes on the third and you do like a 5 or 6 gate Blink. Oh, that's actually really awkward to respond to, because how are you going to get Hydras up before that? You're definitely not. You have to defend that with Zerglings. Solar goes to the middle base. Now, the middle base is really good because you can defend it from Oracles, guys, whereas the other edge bases are too far away for your Queens to defend. The downside is Stalkers can literally kill it for free. Like, if the Protoss does a sharp Stalker timing, they almost always get that base snipe. Dep's getting surrounded. Pretty good angle. Oh, wow. He's going to get 2. That's massive. Solar with a really good surround here. Solar's also up 20 supply right now. I know that's not that much because obviously there is 7 gateways coming up right now. It is going to be a 7-gate Blink Stalker or 50 probes. Battery will not go down. Barely survives. And that was definitely an overcommitment towards the tail end of that by Solar. He's got an Evo chamber. 2 more gases coming in. He needs to realize with this delayed third, just pure Zergling and more drones is so greedy. Solar's back in a playable spot, but I think he dies to this Blink push. Hydroden on the way. Stalker's going to be moving out soon. Then again, there's only 4 of them. Recall comes in. What did he just recall, guys? Did he just recall? Okay, 2 Stalkers do get recalled. It was the Stalkers that got surrounded by the Lings, wasn't it? I thought it would be somewhere else. I'm so dumb. Ooh, gets one. I mean, every Stalker kill is really valuable. You can trade 7 Zerglings for a Stalker and still be evenly trading. Arguably positively trading, since Protoss normally trades better than you, so... It's Hydras are now on the way. Groove Spines +1 range has started. This 4th base will go down. But there's not a fully saturated 3rd, so I don't think you need to defend the 4th. Oh, he's actually going for the 3rd. 8 gateway, or actually 6 gates, so 7th gateway on the front. Ling's coming in now. The shield battery's out of juice. No healing juice on the 3rd. That is a problem. The probes are getting massacred. Solar with a terrible start for getting his spawning pool. Turns out that was just the pep he needed to put in his step. Bit of pep in his step there after realizing he massively messed up his opening. And now he's doing a really good hold so far. The Queen Zergling's Hydra's gathering. But remember, he needs to grow that Hydra count, and he needs to grow it soon. Otherwise, he cannot go toe-to-toe with these Stalkers. And if the Stalkers start to pick off the Hydras, it's only 10 Hydras against 17 Stalkers. Things can go very bad very quickly. Solar's Transfuse comes down just barely in time. Got to keep those Queens alive. Their Transfuses could really be massive on the Queens and the Hydras. Oh, Stasis Trap coming up. Zerglings will set it off. Only 5 Zerglings on it, not too bad. And he's going to get another few Zerglings frozen. Ooh, Hydras. One of them does get focused. Ling's on the other side trying to counterattack. Does Solar keep countering with Lings, or does he just fight front on? I wouldn't mind him trying to send his Lings across now that the Oracle's here. You just have to survive. You're up 15 workers. You just have to not die. Engages there. How many Stalkers have gone down? 2 Stalkers for 80 Zerglings this game. Solar's had a better economy. Solar has done good probe damage as well, so this is absolutely fine for Solar. The Hydra count's growing, and ZOUN here going for like a 2.5 base Stalker blink timing. Really not finding the purchase. These Lings not going to be able to get in there. Only one can fight the Adept at a time. I don't see ZOUN being able to overwhelm this now. More Lings, more Hydras coming in. +1, and Hydra movement speed's about to finish as well. The upgrade advantage will disappear. Infestation Pit's coming. Do you guys think that's for Hive and Lurkers, or do you think he squeezes a cheeky Infester out for Fungal? Because this Mass Stalker is very weak to Fungal. Holding it in place. Solar trying to drone here. This isn't all in. Is Solar being too greedy? The army supply is dead even. Solar needs to be building Zerglings to tank. It's already got so many Hydras. Equal range with the Stalkers. Much higher damage for the Hydras, but the Stalkers are way tankier, and they have the Blink. The Hydras get some excellent fights there. Doesn't want to chase too far, otherwise there could be a Stasis Trap. No Overseer for Solar right now. But he's hanging on. He's back to pure Hydra Zergling production. Added a few more gases. He's got to keep the Concave, though. His Concave's being broken. No Lings rallying in. No drones being pulled. He's going to be broken. Solar way too greedy. Not respecting the all-in. He didn't protect his Hydras. He could have pulled drones in there. This was way too greedy. And yet, he's still going to barely hold. The supply tells a story. He's got enough units popping out. They're rallying to the front. There's more Stalkers coming in. This is just... I think this was way too greedy for Solar. I think in his mind, there's gases on the 3rd. There's Storm, but it's Overseer Seas. There isn't even full mineral saturation on that 3rd, so he should absolutely be just doubling down on the defense. ZOUN is completely all in. He wanted to start this series with a vicious timing, but Solar appears to be ready for it. Ling's going across here. Natural's wide open. We did see the Adept arrive, which I think is why Solar sent these. He realized that the army got F2'd to the front. Hydra's still defending. Ling's going to distract all those probes. A lot of mining time will be lost here. You're already on a pretty small economy. Hydra's going to take care of those Oracles pretty quickly as well. The Oracles try to hold position to clear any Zerglings, but that means they are exposed. And the Hydra's doing really well there on that front line. Both Oracles fall. Transfuses across those Hydras do really nicely. And of course, ZOUN is going to have to tap out as these Stalkers get broken. The Hydras push forward. So many Stalkers on the ground. Units lost tab pretty close to even. Zerg's on 4 base. Protoss is on 2.5. And that does not bode well for the Protoss player. All right, guys, Solar in the bottom left side of the map. ZOUN is in the top right, and I think this is really interesting because now we're onto the Protoss maps, the ones that he let be second. You know, Solar picked his map, he won that map. ZOUN's like, now it's Enclave. Now, what I don't like really about most Protoss players on this map is I feel like they basically play this like any other map. They just take the third out front. They don't utilize the free base in the back. And I think Nexus first into a quick wall off, maybe even a full wall off, and then a third in the back. It's just, I think you can be so greedy with some builds for Protoss, and I think mixing it in would be absolutely excellent. Probe here doing a bit of mining. Mining harassment, just checking. So this is a gate scout, guys. It's the worst opening Protoss has. ZOUN and Classic are big fans of it. I was really proud of Classic. Earlier in the group stage, he did actually do some no-scout builds. I think this build kind of sucks because it does sacrifice a lot of resources. And this harassment usually achieves very little. You can see Solar just counter micros, loses very little minerals, but you lose a lot of minerals for coming to this side of the map. Been vocally critical of this one for a while. I think if you mix it in occasionally and you think you're just way better than your opponent, sure, but I think ZOUN and Solar is a pretty close match, with Solar probably being a bit of a favorite. Definitely one where I'd like to see him taking more risks. But I've been vocal about Protoss pro players playing this map with about as much creativity as a piece of wet spaghetti. For those who don't know, wet spaghetti is not very creative. It's overcooked. It's been done 1,000 times. That analogy made no sense. I'm aware. Sometimes words leave my mouth, and then we have to listen to them afterwards. Dep's going to go across the map. It does look like a generic opening. He's going to use a Stalker to get rid of this. Oracle comes out. Probably goes for the third at the front. If you're playing this normal without any extra greed, you don't really want this back base because it's only 5 minerals, 1 gas. You really need to do a very specifically greedy build and then leapfrog from 2.5 up to the 4th base. If you're going to do that off of the back of like something like 2-star Oracle into Blink. Dep's going to keep shading forward. Speaking of spaghetti, I think I know why I was thinking about spaghetti, guys. We are on the map with the doodle forests. These doodles are vaguely spaghetti shaped. You can see the Stalker's just waiting. Now, when you see this, guys, as the Zerg, what you can actually do is run away right now. And notice the Protoss doesn't have vision here, which is why ZOUN should have patrolled the Stalker. Speak of the devil, to make sure... But even then, the Overlord could actually be quite far away by the time the Oracle gets here. So I would say this is something where we're not seeing Protoss players often enough try to run that away. Because you can often get the Overlord quite far away by the time the Oracle arrives. And if you keep that alive, suddenly the Stalker investment just doesn't pay off for them. Oh, Prober are allowed to take the base right next to the Zerglings. Zerglings force the Oracle to turn on the laser beam. They will find the probe, but no, it goes to hide in the pocket. Ooh, then they go back and get it. Oracle doesn't want to turn its laser on again. Too energy expensive. Evo Chambers on the way. Looks like Solar wants to play an upgraded Zergling style. He's already got 10 Zerglings on that left side. I like about 10, 12 Zerglings staying really active. If you can loop some around the north side, get a bit of a wraparound, might be able to do some damage, but 3 Adepts should be solid. Decent positioning here for ZOUN. The Northern Adept will go down pretty quickly. With the Stalker coming out of the wall off as well, he's fine. Let's see if he can find some counter damage. 1 Adept goes down for, I think, about 5, 6 Zerglings. It's perfectly fine. There's a drone inside the main base. Solar sends a drone to scout the follow-up. He sees the Forge and Twilight timing. What a sacrifice. Gary the drone. He knew that was always going to be a one-way trip, but he took the assignment anyway. Did walkie-talkie home. Exactly what's going on. I love a 5-minute, 4-minute, you know, drone just walking through that worker-only path on the back door, taking advantage of the map. There are some cool features on these maps players haven't really designed their builds around too much just yet. The 15 years of relatively stagnant map pools. Players' creativity still, I think, maybe needs a little bit of work. Lings will get 1 Adept and then back away. Yeah, I don't think it's worth continuing here. Oh, Solar wants to throw a few more Zerglings away. A little sloppy there. 3rd and 4th gateway into Robo. So ZOUN goes for the quick Robo. This makes me think Colossus, guys. Are you also thinking Colossus? Colossus pretty good if it's Hydrabane. Does he know it's Hydrabane? Well, he's seen the Evo Chamber. Evo Chamber almost always is +1 melee into Hydrabane. Occasionally it's like, you know, Lings into Fast Ultras, like, but I doubt you do that on this map. Usually you want a bigger map And it's absolutely a bit of a coin flip if you play that. It's not really Solar's style. It's more of a Reina might whip that out once in a while. Oracle's rotating. Queens are moving around. Hydroden's on the way as well. But I think we're going to see that Robo Bay. Oh, yeah. Second Robo Bay. Now, this is where a lot of players really struggle because they don't Overseer Scout. Solar Overseer Scouts, but it gets stopped. That's frustrating. That's really big. Oh, but he doesn't actually finish the Overseer. Oh, that's so... Dude, no way. If he lets that Overseer in and doesn't warp a Stalker in his main, that is disastrous. The Adepts are here, but they're a bit too far out. Warps in the Stalker further behind. Lings are going to drain that battery of its juice very quickly. Oracle's going to try and defend. A Probe goes down as well. The Overseer did fall, guys. Let's check Solar's vision. He didn't see the Robo transition. Can he surmise that's what's happening, though? He sees fast 6 gas. 6 more drones on the way. Solar can either hit a Hydra Bane timing before Colossus are out, or he's got to go immediately for Hive, and he's got to get Vipers to abduct the Colossus and Lurkers to beat Stalker Colossus. But if he's stuck on Hydra Bane, and he realizes very late, and he attacks into 2 or 3 Colossus, which, if he waits for Bane speed, which is the more standard timing, it's going to be an anti-timing. He'll be attacking into 2 Colossus, a pack of Stalkers, and they'll be blinking back behind Wall-Off, stutter stepping away, and your Banelings, Zerglings, Hydras will just get toasted. Solar has no idea what's happening. It's a 78 drone, 4.5 base, I guess 5 base, if you count this one with the Rich Gas, Hydra Bane timing. He's still adding drones as well, but with no Infestation Pit, the more drones he builds, the worse it is. I feel like if he has a big enough army to maybe wallop him, it might be okay. ZOUN even takes a 4th base in the back. He takes the half base just because it's so safe. That's really smart. A lot of players get stuck on 66 workers, whereas ZOUN could go up to 75, get himself an extra gas. 3 drones try to take the Rich Gas. Oracles do deny it. Solar building another 3 drones to replace. He starts a Spine Crawler down here. Solar, I'm on his camera right now, guys, because he just has no idea what's happening. Ling's poking. He sees a lot of Stalkers. I mean, he's got to start realizing that's so many Stalkers. Surely it would be more Zealots and Immortals. He does start an Infestation Pit as he marches forward, but the Colossus, they will reveal themselves now, and Solar, I'm looking at his camera, he saw those Colossus beams, and that there is the face of a Zerg who's going, ah, crap. This is not what I wanted. Suddenly he swaps into a defensive stance, takes another gas. A couple drones squeeze in as well. He desperately knows he needs a bit more gas. He's going to try and do a Baneling roll-by on the 3rd, and he needs a 6 around on this army. This base, you don't want to defend this because I think it's a bit far out. Great stasis trap already. Dude, the stasis traps are massive. Oh, massive stasis there. He's got to pull back. A lot of Lings running in and dying, but the Banelings. Oh, the Stalker Warping. Pull the probes away, bro. The probes tried to push through the Stalker Warping. 11 of them do go down. I still think it's pretty decent for ZOUN because there's a lot of Zerglings, and Zerglings just no good against these Colossus, man. Queens, Hydras, Lings coming forward. The Prism does go down. You can't chase. The problem is the Stalker Colossus can just kite you to death. You can't chase this army, man. You're getting bullied. There's no Hive, no Lurker Den. Hive starts up now. But the Colossus surprise for ZOUN looking excellent. The intercept on that Overseer was so clutch. And Solar just did not realize what sort of game he was playing. He's so used to playing against Storm. Wasn't expecting the Colossus play. Another massive stasis trap. I mean, this is an absolutely excellent execution for ZOUN. One Colossus is a little exposed up front. Banes are getting on top. Rolling Banes into Colossus. Very expensive. Nothing in this army that Banelings are good against. Banelings are good against High Templar. Great against Zealots. And they can add some firepower against other units, but against this specific army, I said he needs to give up this base because the only way you beat that with Hydraling Bane is with an amazing surround. And he did try to flank, but the stasis traps were on point. There were so many stasis traps down so fast, and ZOUN not going to go down without a fight. All right, guys. Game 3 now. This was the series where everyone had their questions about who the heck is going to win this one. Closest match in the group in terms of the predictions. And ZOUN in the top right on a very big map. I've heard Zerg say, this map's terrible, you can't kill Protoss. I've also heard Protoss say, your bases are so spread out, they're impossible to defend. Mutas are amazing. Nidus Worms in this big corner of the main always catch you off guard. This map's so good for Zerg. I do think, overall, ZOUN has better late game than Solar. Solar's not really the sort of guy to let it get there. I think a lot of the mind game on this map, Zerg versus Terran and Zerg versus Protoss, revolves around, is Zerg going to play Mutalisks? And the problem is, like we saw, Shin did a great Muta build on this map the other day. We've seen a few players pull out Mutas. if you do it too frequently, it's not good because the Protoss players are scouting for it and checking for it and they're playing safe against it. But is there an alternate play where you can pretend you're going mutas or have something that takes advantage of a Protoss who's maybe too cautious against that? Whether it's, oh, I just hide the fact that I'm going Hydra Bane for a bit longer, denying the Oracles with good Queen coverage. Is there a Roach All-In you could get across this map by surprise? I think it's quite a weak map for Roach All-In because it just takes so long to cross the map. It's hard to get over that, but perhaps a Nidus. Maybe a Nidus could be really good here. We haven't seen too many Nidus All-Ins against Protoss players recently. Hey Pig, do Amazon Prime subs not order renew? No, Amazon would not make it easy to give their money away. So they moved the button around as well. Normally, if you just click subscribe, there should be a, subscribe, elevate your support with Prime Gaming or something like that. And there'll be a little crown icon, and you click on that, and then you can link your Amazon account and give us a free sub. If you guys are watching on YouTube and you have Amazon Prime, you can do that for free. Even if you don't watch on Twitch, hop over at least once a month and renew that sub. Gives us the same dollars as an actual sub. We get $5 or whatever our percentage share of $5 normally is, or, does depend on your region, I guess, as now they have regionalized subs and things. But, let's just say it's like slapping $5 down without you actually having to pay anything. So if you've got Amazon Prime, don't forget to do that, YouTube viewers. We appreciate all of you. And by the way, big thanks to everyone on YouTube, Twitch, elsewhere. Everyone who's just been supporting every day I wake up since we opened fundraising for this tournament. And there's just a bunch of alerts on my phone going, someone put $5 to the prize pool, someone put $10 in, someone threw $50 in. And it's really cool that it feels like at all hours of the day, even when we're not live or anything, there's just people going, oh, enjoying the VODs, hype for the games, let's throw some dollar dues in. We really appreciate you guys. Depth Shade cancelled for now. Pretty chill opening for ZOUN, leaves the second Adept at home, and it's going to be a Void Ray looking to deny the vision. Hey, thank you, Kian. Kian with a wave of gifted subs. We appreciate you, mate. Those are not free at all, so I hope you guys do slap some bacon in the chat to say thank you to Kian. 5 gifted subs, giving everyone those ad-free experiences. We appreciate you so much, mate. Now, Void Ray is kind of interesting to play against, guys, because it used to be if someone was opening Void Ray, or if you're, playing below 5k on the NA ladder, if they open with a Void Ray, it means they're going to drop a Twilight Council and do a Charge All-In or a Glaive Adept All-In. It's one or the other, right? Or it's 2 Stargate, like Carrier or Tempest, something like that, right? It's always one of those extremes. So you need to get a lair up early in case it's Stargate, but then you also need to make sure you've got a Roach Warren and some scouting so you can quickly mass Roaches if it's the ground attack. Kind of tricky to play against. The thing is, Hero has really popularized just doing this as a macro build. You just go Void Ray into Oracle, but then you could still hit surprising timing. So the Zergs at the pro level, they're worried about everything. They're worried about Stargates. They're worried about you just macroing. And they're worried about the blindness of it all because their Overlords get denied. Except in this case where the Void Ray missed the Overlord on the map. Only got one. The second Overlord flies in from the left, sees the Forge and Twilight, sees the Oracle, and now as Solar, this is a completely normal game. He did throw away a lot of Zerglings for just 1 probe and 1 Adept, which is not a great trade, but I also don't think it's a terrible trade because it's distracted his opponent. He's now got a very quick lair on the way, so he can rush straight to Hydras. I just think he's got a pretty damn nice setup. So I actually really like what Solar's got. And I did say Hydras, but remembering what I said at the start of this game, do we really think it's going to be Hydras, or do we think Aspire is going to throw down either here, or maybe here? And he'll actually, if he puts a Roach Warren down, it's Spire. It's Spire. He's going to play Mutas. Now, problem with this, guys, I mentioned it. It's predictable. It's such a good play, but it is predictable. Geonic, thank you so much for the gifted subs as well. Neon Samurai, appreciate the hype wave, guys. Thank you so much. Ling's going for a wraparound. He will warp in more units. Ling's going to take out a few. Oh, I like the probes. The probes did some damage. They tanked a bit, but then they pulled away before they died. Dude, he only got 1 Adept. He got 1 Adept, nothing else for 10 more Zerglings. Dude, ZOUN's micro's been on point. I mean, Solar's macro's been great. And I don't think he's in a bad spot having scouted what was happening. But he's overcommitted to these Ling trades, hasn't found the damage. Now he's building that Spire that we talked about. Like I said, very predictable. If ZOUN's strategy and planning is on point, he should be checking for this and going immediately into 2 Stargate Phoenix to defend it. That shade in, but they have to cancel. It's going to be hard with just 1 Oracle and a few Adepts to get in the back. He does see the 3rd gas. That's not in of itself a big tell, though. Someone taking gases on their 3rd at just before 6 minutes. Is that a tell? I don't think so, and neither does ZOUN. He's going double Robo Colossus. Oh, he thinks it's Hydras, but didn't he see the Roach Horn? He saw the Roach Warren. Going double Robo Colossus into a Roach Warren build. This is a big misread for ZOUN. Roach Warren is a big tell of Mutalisks in the current meta. Oh, I think Solar might completely wallop him with the first round of Mutas. Robo units don't shoot up, guys. Twilight Council Blinkstalkers do okay at, like, staving off Mutas for a little bit. The problem is the Mutas can fly up and down cliffs, and if you blink, they can fly the other way, and they can usually isolate Stalkers or catch lots of probes, and it's really hard to defend a fourth. But at least Twilight Blink is okay, but Robo, nothing out of the Robo shoots up. Colossus are obviously okay at dealing with the Zerglings that can support the Mutas, but it's really hard to have such giant, expensive units in the right spot at the right time. The Lings will usually still find somewhere where they can fight away from the Colossus, and sometimes the Mutas can just focus them down as well. Oh, this is tough. 9 Mutas on the way, 2 Colossus coming in, +2. The Viagra upgrade coming in. ZOUN says, I may go down in this game, but if I do, I'll die hard. Ho, ho, ho. And now I have an extended thermal lance. Observer, I don't know if he saw the Mutas, guys. He builds 3 cannons. He knows it. He must know. I think he might have seen a Mutalisk popping, or at least he's sensing that this might be the case. He has another Observer there. The Muta's getting spotted. The Muta's getting spotted. The Observers see it. What's he going to do, though? No. He's just going to defend with Stalkers, and then he's going to do a Stalker Colossus all in. Maybe adding Archons. Okay. Oh, ZOUN is picking the simplest response. This is actually, it technically doesn't work if Zerg plays perfectly, but it is good. Oh, he's building Phoenix now. It is like a scary push that you can do. He's going to go second Stargate, but it's so late. Dude, Solar's already on 8 gas. This is 10 gas. He's going to be able to build like 20 Mutalisks a minute. 3 base Protoss, even building Phoenix, is not going to be able to keep up with that production. The Mutas will be able to just face tank the Phoenix shots, dive on top, and with no Pulse Crystals, it's going to be hard. You know what I've realized, guys? When Dot makes Kimchi Jjigae, and it comes through the door, it smells a little bit like garbage. Even though I love Kimchi Jjigae, it's so weird. I don't know why. I smelled this the other day, and I thought it was garbage, but actually I think it's just Kimchi Jjigae. I think it's that anchovy powder. Yeah, now I'm getting hungry. Should have eaten before I started casting. GG. Muta's going to find a good fight here. Picks off the gas. And those Phoenix. Oh, he gets 2. Both of the Phoenix fall. No, that's a disaster for ZOUN. The Lings do get trapped by the stasis. But look at that, guys. Great trades for him. He's lost 4 Mutas. He's already killed 7 Stalkers, 2 Phoenix. That is the trading that you're looking for. And he's already got a rich gas. He's effectively on 12 gas. 12 gas mining. He's going up to almost 2k gas a minute. And that is an unstoppable amount of production for a 3-base Protoss who's just had 2 of his gases denied. I talked about it at the start of the game. You've got to be wary of Mutas on this map. Zergs don't have a lot of confidence in their ground attacks on such a big map. They any excuse to go Sky Zerg, but it just wasn't on ZOUN's radar. And he prepared way too late for this. Wasn't able to scout it. The Mutas are just picking him apart. You got to leave units on the left, but like Stalkers just don't do enough damage. The Phoenix try to defend, but they've only got a slight range advantage on these Mutalisks that are so very fast. These gases just keep getting killed, not even cancelled. He's one-shotting Stalkers, and ZOUN bleeding out here. Down in the units lost, while down 20 workers. An immense amount of gas coming in. Over 2k gas a minute every now and then. Like I said, 20 Mutalisks a minute is absolutely wild. The Phoenix now do have Phoenix range. They outrange the Mutas by like 4. I think it's Mutas, 3 range, Phoenix 7 now. But the Muta count is still crazy, and the Corruptors coming in will tank very well for them. You can kind of ignore the Phoenix a little bit. He goes a bit too close. I think the Mutas probably want to run away. The Corruptors just standing here attacking a Colossus. Mutalisks are actually starting to get whittled down a little bit, but as the Corruptors get in between them and the enemy, it's all fine. Lings clean up some Zealots moving out. They all fall. And as the Corruptors keep those Phoenix occupied, the Mutas go after the probes. That is going to be the checkmate, guys. Solar with a textbook. Keep your opponent busy with Ling pressure. I love the second Overlord scout. Remind me, guys, or don't even remind me. This game's about to end. I've got to show that second Overlord because I think this was crucial in Solar realizing that there was no aggressive threat out of ZOUN, which is why he was able to be so greedy. Information is everything in this matchup. A desperate Zealot counterattack getting cleaned up by the rally of units alone. GG. So where was that second Overlord? It's rare to put 2 Overlords on the enemy side of the map. Oh, actually, guys, so the Overlord was just out here. I think this is a huge mistake for ZOUN, right? So check this out. The Overlord was actually here, guys. So Solar, I don't think he even realized that this was a Void Ray opening. He just happened to like pull his Overlord back and then send it to the left. And the Void Ray goes out. And then the thing is, if you look at ZOUN's vision, he sees the Overlord. If he recalled the Void Ray, he could have shut it down. I think he should have. I actually think he should have recalled the Void Ray, but the Lings were keeping him busy. So this Overlord is allowed to just slowly float into the base. And if we swap to Solar's vision, I mean, that is game-changing. It also, building these structures under the Overlord, that's just a mistake. He was too occupied with the Zerglings. If ZOUN at least built the Forge in the Twilight down here, there's a bigger chance of Solar going, oh, I don't know what's happening. Then you kill the Overlord. The problem is from here, Solar knew, oh, you're starting a Forge and a Twilight off of a Void Ray and an Oracle. There's no aggressive threat. I can just drone really hard and do whatever I want. So even though he threw away a lot of Zerglings a little bit wastefully, he was able to not build any Roaches, cut all the corners he wanted. And that is always a mistake. The point of a Void Ray opening is it's less damage dealing than an Oracle, but it puts your opponent in the dark, and therefore they have to play safer against all the different options. Solar didn't have to play against that at all, and this opening was a big failure for ZOUN. Really lovely muted transition for Solar, and he wraps up the opening series. All right, guys. It's the losers match here. Two players, though, who put up some very good fights. Percival on the bottom left side, fighting for his life, as is ZOUN in the top right side of the map. And that's an early probe after Gateway to keep him safe. It's also on the low ground, making me think ZOUN may want to rally an early Adept across the map, maybe even a Zealot and an Adept to try and catch the SCV on this command center. Oh, here we go. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out, guys. Really appreciate you all dropping into the chats, YouTube, Twitch, elsewhere. There's probably some guy on DouYu TV restreaming this in Chinese. Shout out to my Chinese brothers. Not normally the biggest on people restreaming my content without asking, but there's always one, and I don't mind it. There's got to be a little bit for people behind the firewall to tune into. Hi to you guys as well. Cybercore on the natural. No Zealot coming out, so it's just an early Adept. You'll chrono that straight away, yeah? Yeah. That command center is exposed. Percival has not scouted. It's going to go Reaper Marine. If he builds a second Marine and keeps the Reaper at home, he can defend this. If he's just got like one Marine, bunker's not ready yet, could be a little tricky because this does get there a few seconds earlier. Normally that gateway's up here in the main somewhere. Depth shading forward, another chrono boost there. Second barracks on the way. Ooh, I haven't seen too much. It's been so starport focused lately, isn't it, guys? It's kind of cool to see a second barracks. I think he'll still go starport rather than third barracks. Oh, look at this. Second Marine is coming out. Reaper with some good micro can defend this. I don't know who's the favorite here, guys. Normally I'd say ZOUN, but Percival's just been so tricky with his timing attacks in this matchup. I do worry for ZOUN that Percival could catch him off guard. Percival's boy pools have been excellent, and he played pretty solid against CLEM earlier. CLEM's Protoss versus Terran. Some of the best in the world. We asked Maru about it. We said, are you you put CLEM to bed? What do you think about playing CLEM's Protoss? And he said, look, I think CLEM's micro makes him kind of like just as hard to play against as Hero. And he said, honestly, I want to dodge Protoss players right now. I don't want to play CLEM's Protoss again for a while. But yeah, I think ZOUN has always been one of the guys who's got really vicious kind of 70 probe PVT. Like if ZOUN gets his 3 bases up, he'll have good Colossus timings, usually good attack timings on his Forge upgrades. And then he just has these very committed Zealot Stalker Colossus timings that are quite hard to stop. Thank you, people, for helping out the newbies over there in the YouTube and the Twitch chat, linking up brackets and all that stuff. You guys can always look at the pinned comment if you're on YouTube. There is a link to the website, and that has pictures of everything, as well as links to everything. It's got like graphics of showing the group stages. You can click on the Wikipedia to go see the exact thing and track the results as the tournament goes on, as long as you don't mind spoilers. Starport comes up. So you can see he opens 2 barracks, but then he goes for the Starport, despite not even getting Hallucination Scouted. And that's such an odd opening, isn't it? Because like he builds a lot more Marines than normal, but then he just goes Tank Banshee. So is it just a Tank Banshee push for Percival, but he has just a billion non-stim Marines? Medevac comes forward. Double mine drop. Probe will move in, but oh, I like that. The Reaper Alien's going to deny it, even though he doesn't get it. Oh, look at that, though. ZOUN with the surround. Oh, the Stalker almost lured that Widowmine shot into the probes. Ends up losing the Stalker, and the Widowmine escapes. Not too bad for Percy. Remember, guys, Percy, one of the hardest working tank engines in Thomas the Tank Engine. Ooh, gets a double probe snipe. Doesn't even try to run away. He knows the Stalkers have blink. You're not going to get out of there. That's awesome. That's such a big delay on the third. And this is a 3-gate blink with a third that it feels like is about 40 seconds behind from when he wanted it to be. I don't think it's not the end of the world, you know, but it's a good little win because these are just early harassment units that don't really transition so well. Look at that beautiful, great wall of Terran up here. Double bunker on the natural as well. No chances being taken by Percival. He's actually just going to defend the natural with no tank for now. Double tank in the main base. He says, please drop your Stalkers in range of that. ZOUN takes 2 tank shots and immediately leaves. Oof. Banshee rotates around the back. A couple probes are going to get focused. This is a cloakless Banshee, so not too bad if you can get 4. Bit of miss micro there, only 3 probes in mining time. Not a great trade for Percy, but he is straight into Stim Bio now. Medivacs, 3 tanks keeping him very safe on the defense. And I'd say this is bad, committing to double bunker, 3 tanks, losing a Banshee. If it wasn't for the fact that he delayed the third, the worker count is actually ahead for Percival. And one of ZOUN's biggest strengths, like I said, is just the commitment to those timing attacks and his really crisp upgrade timings. But one of his biggest weaknesses, well, he has 2, in my opinion. It's he never consistently builds probes. He's more focused on his unit gateway timings and hitting the attacks when he can. But it means he never maintains economy leads as quickly as some other guys. Like the CLEM Max Pack style, much more focused on, yes, they're being aggressive, but they're trying to never skip probes, or only really when they absolutely have to. Whereas ZOUN will quite frequently skip probes, even though, as I've started talking about this, he's been perfect on it, non-stop on it. Even chronoing it, really focusing on it as he goes up to 8-gate charge Immortal. The other weakness of ZOUN's play, the thing that I really gets frustrated with watching, is he's allergic to armor upgrades. This man will make +3, chrono it 7 times, and then not even start +1 sometimes. He hates armor up. He just wants to get the Terran units down before he you know, loses anything. Good blink to dodge that. Bit of mining time, but the Widowmine finally has been dealt with. Percival, the 4 tank, 6 Marauder, 24 Marine push. I think ZOUN's done an excellent job of buying time. He's even got a Warp Prism there. He doesn't have any splash damage, but I think with the Guardian Shield, the Immortal, quite a few Zealots coming in. Could be okay. Ooh, almost gets a Medevac. A fair bit of damage on 2 of those Stalkers now. And the boy pull is here! I was talking earlier about how scary Percival's boy pulls are. These Zealots, unfortunately, running an attack a supply depot. The SCVs are so useful against this army because there's no splash damage. And ZOUN trying to pull away. He does at least force a siege up, but Percival will not be stopped. He will not be perturbed. He's going to continue on in there. 1 tank walks right up to the Immortal and sieges in range. Not the best siege tank move. But even though the Immortals clear 2 of the tanks, the bio guns through. The SCVs have done their job of tanking. And it's this sort of build that makes me think rushing Storm on 2 base is like the optimal build against Percival. And I actually thought it was something that, because he's known for these SCV pulls, I thought in the previous series Clem was going to go 2-base Storm. But he didn't. Clem played like pretty normal, greedy, just in-your-face Stalkers into Colossus, kind of similar to what ZOUN did. Just maybe a bit more in-your-face, a bit more heavy on the harassment with pinning him at home. And the boy pull never came in that first series, and Percival said, maybe that was a mistake, let's go for it now. Of course, ZOUN, no way to hang on. He's on 52 probes. Well, sorry, 39 probes. Sentry goes down. 3 Stalkers and the Immortal, 4 Stalkers and the Immortal aren't going to defend that. Percival's boy pulls are a thing to be reckoned with, guys. It really is very, very much his best, most dangerous build. I'd call it his trademark build. And getting an early map win with it is amazing, because now he can focus on playing greedier, playing other styles, and ZOUN always has to worry about that one coming out again. All right, guys, going into game 2. ZOUN in the bottom left. He's going for an immediate probe. Try and block the barracks going down, start harassing, and make sure he is not going to be cheesed. ZOUN knows he has no more chances left in this game, so he's got to get in Percival's face and make sure nothing catches him off guard. SCV gets the barracks down. You could argue that's a bit of a mistake, but good damage from the probe nonetheless. He's just going to harass here and then pull away before that extra SCV arrives. Pulling an extra SCV and immediately hot swapping, perfect reaction for Percival. I always see a lot of players make the mistake of not pulling the extra SCV, and you have to pull the extra SCV because look, even here, he's going to struggle to defend this guy in time. He has to hot swap it or he's going to lose it. And every time you hot swap it, you lose like a second of build time, sometimes more. So that's something you've really got to be careful with. Double gas, barracks, second depot. Oh my gosh. Dude, this probe is being so annoying. It's a proper hero probe, isn't it? Percival was like, you sure you don't want to come in, bro? Are you sure? ZOUN doesn't know if it's double gas or not. Of course, we know it is. Feels like the gas count, not that high though. Feels like this build order's being thrown off by this harassment. His factory is kind of, it's not the latest, but 147 when you've done double gas here is, definitely not the fastest. Second gas goes down after Cybercore into Nexus. ZOUN, I think the probe got some decent damage there. Warp gate's on the way, Adepts are building. Reaper's rotating around. Probe's going to pull down this side. Just checking, I guess, for any second barracks proxies or something. Does he really think that's an option? Oh, he's worried that Percival's just going to be doing, like, 2 barracks Marauder down here and then just go for an all-in. Or a proxy starport for a Hellion drop, right? I guess that's the other thing. Reaper comes in, Adept pushes it away. Command Center on the high ground as well. What do you guys think is ZOUN's best bet here? It looks like he's playing a mixture of just kind of conservative, get in your face with scouting, check for everything. But I worry that when you play that safe, sometimes you end up being even weaker to the SCV pool when it comes, because you've been spending so much time and APM and money doing all that. Percival's going to kill 2 probes. Oh, man. Sometimes when you play overly safe, you open yourself up to taking more damage, and this is a problem. 3 probes mining time. Where the heck are the 2 Adepts? 3 probes go down. Lucky to not lose a 4th. Both Adepts moved across the map, and they're going to run into a wall off. They can't do anything there. It's a good start for Percival in game 2. I do think ZOUN looked a little bit off his game in that final match of the Solar Series. I think he should have been able to predict that Mutas was a big threat, and it looked like it was not even on his radar for such a long time. Like, that's the sort of map where I wouldn't have minded him building a quick second Stargate, right? Blind, even before he sees the Mutas, just have the Stargate ready. But it looked like caught completely off guard by what I would call a kind of strategically predictable move, and it might just be that ZOUN's slightly behind the meta. Sometimes this happens where, like, you've just been steamrolling ladder, and maybe you've been doing the same builds for a bit too long because they've kept working. And that's why you got to remind yourself to keep innovating, because you never know when your builds are going to stop being successful, and you're going to have to pivot to something else in the middle of a tournament. And I'm not saying he's playing terribly or anything, but I'm just a little bit worried by that hole in his game, because there's something paranoid about the amount of scouting that he's been doing this game. And I worry when players get a bit too paranoid, they actually end up playing a bit worse. Oh, look at that. Good unburrow, just wasting so much mining time. Nice retargets. And oh, he goes for the hot swap. Wouldn't mind, barely gets underground in time. Gets himself the Stalker. Very, very nice. He's going to go for another drop. It's not ready to fire. Percival thinks about unloading it, realizes it's not ready to fire, so he's got to go hide. 2 tanks and a Viking around. It's going to be a very early follow-up push. I was going to say he's got no Marines, though, but then I realized they're already out front. They've already moved forward. The Stalkers are so worried about this drop right now that he's not in position in the middle of the map. Sometimes you play so safe, you end up wide open to the harassment and the pushes. And that's exactly what's happening here. Percival not forward on the map despite Blink being done. And this is going to allow this push to get 3/4 of the way across the map without even getting any damage. This is a real problem for ZOUN right now. He's got a battery and a few Stalkers. Is it going to be enough? The medevac does go down. Nice snipe there. That's really going to help out. The tanks are sieging up, though. And look at those big tank shots. The Marines and the Vikings holding the ground up front. Does he build a bunker? A bunker here would be nice. Shield batteries have been depowered. The tank moves forward. SCV's ready to repair the siege tanks if they get jumped on by the Stalkers. Stalkers, 4 of them, will blink around trying to cut off these Marines that are reinforcing. But he might take a tank shot to the chin as he goes around. That reverse tank does try to come in here. More units coming in. That third tank, he can't be tied to this third tank, but he can't stop it either. He's going to take out the Viking. Nice moves there. Natural has been abandoned. That's probably the correct call for ZOUN, but going back to one base might be a checkmate in of itself. Force field traps some of the Marines on the ramp. Nice little engagement, but he does not have the numbers, and this is going to be a brutal 2-0 Percival played really assertively here, and ZOUN, he looked a little bit paranoid, and sometimes you've just got to confidently get in your opponent's face and make some plays. It was Percival who did that in this series. ZOUN, who was trying to scout and react to everything. Attacking is easier than defending, and I've been talking about how much of a danger Percival is, guys, and it's specifically because these sort of aggressive timings he is a master of. We talked about in the CLEM series at the start. His weakness is probably that he's too many SCV pulls, and these early tank pushes are such a big part of his best builds in his game plan that you can maybe blind counter him to a certain extent, but you've got to be so tight in that first 7 minutes of the game. And as we saw, even an 8-minute SCV pull could potentially get you. Percival with a lovely 2-0, knocking ZOUN entirely out of the tournament and keeping himself alive for that final decider match.